Well, a good time to start. Um, the movement that we do for our hips, where we go to the side and shift the weight like this,
Uh-huh.
I used to call that move nosy neighbor because if you're in your house and you want to see what's going on in your neighbors, what's going on, so you open up that curtain a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I quit calling it nosy neighbor, but that you saying that sparked that memory. I was like, wait a minute, I used to call a move of ours nosy neighbor. All
I
right.
have a couple of neighbors who are in their 90s and they tease and call themselves my nosy neighbors. I told them they're the best neighbors I could ever have. They always looking out for me.
Hey, you can't have no better neighbor than a nosy neighbor. Uh, we this man isn't our neighbor anymore. He's actually passed away. But when we very first bought our property, back in a long time ago, 20, I forget what year that was, 2001, I think. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. We didn't live out there, but we would go out there and we would camp and stuff like that. And there wasn't a house on the property, it was just property. Well, one time we weren't there, but our brother-in-law came by to see if we were there. Well, our neighbor put a spotlight and a rifle on him and went down there asking who he was. And
Oh,
so he's calling us on, both of them are calling us on their phones, like, get Peavy off of me. And Peavy's calling to tell us somebody's on our property. So that's the best neighbor we ever had because he always knew what was going on our property.
uh-uh.
I mean,
Good.
he could tell us if squirrels were eating our pecans, or if I remember one time him telling us there was a an indigo snake on our property. Like he knew everything that went on our property. Luckily, we weren't doing anything wrong. So
That's what I was about to say.
if we had any shady business going on, we wouldn't have gotten away with it with Peavy up at the. We call it up the hill because our house is down a hill because we do live out there now. But anyway,
You
uh,
didn't need cameras.
yeah, there's a good old country life with country neighbors. I wouldn't take anything for it. All right, you got your breakfast, Mr. Rogers?
I did, and I've got my emergency. I'm drinking it, but I'm good to go now.
All right. Well, I wanted to, I was kind of stalling to give you a chance to finish up.
Well, thank
When I turned on class, I had this thing picking chia seeds out of my teeth. I try to eat those chia seeds for fiber and whatever else they say is good for me, but they get in your teeth and look like you have like rotten teeth. So
Yeah,
when
yeah. I've got
I
my.
guess I'm gonna have to get me some emergency. Mr. Rogers talking about that. That's about the fifth time within a week I've heard somebody mention that they use that emergency. I've never thought of getting it.
It's good. I've been doing.
yeah, it is good.
Yeah,
It is good. And we none want to get sick. And it just seemed like for a while, everybody was getting like this stomach virus. Like just
Uh-huh.
up to about a week ago, a lot of people were getting sick. All right, so let's get ourselves in our stable stance where our feet are about shoulder width apart. We have a relaxed shoulders. Our spine is straight and we're breathing, reminding ourselves to breathe throughout our exercises. So starting with our neck, let's bring our hands up, palms down, turn and pull them towards our chin and chest. Push away from us and then follow those hands all the way down, chin towards our chest. You should feel a slight stretch in your neck. Find the places that make the best sense for you to breathe. I try to breathe mostly through my nose if the allergy season allows it. So I'm not real knowledgeable about it, but I do know that breathing through our nose filters the air and it slows down our breath into our lungs. So if we can breathe through our nose the most, that would be a good thing. So now we'll go side to side, following that hand. Not as far as we can go, but just until we feel that slight stretch. And even, so when we go to the side, yes, I'm moving my head, but I'm also taking this opposite shoulder and kind of pulling it back and really stretching across my chest as well to make that stretch even more. So you don't have to do that, but if that feels comfortable for you, that's a way to stretch your neck, but also across your chest as well. I hope y'all didn't get bad storms yesterday. I know they were
Oh, it was awful.
Oh, after we had that hurricane, it's just like we're on high alert when it comes to storms, aren't we?
Yes.
Caught in about 20 minutes of it coming to Athens, and it was absolutely awful.
That is so scary.
It was. I'd never driven in a storm like that before.
Oh, you were driving. Oh no, Miss Linda.
Oh,
That's extra scary.
yes, it was.
Yeah.
I was so grateful to get to my destination safely.
Yes, me too.
I mean, all I could see was water. Could barely see that white line. Oh,
Oh, that's scary. Did you turn your hazards on as you drove?
I didn't turn my hazards on. I drove very, very slowly though. I was afraid to stop. My husband always told me, don't ever stop. You'll drive out of it at some point.
Oh, okay. I always turn my hazards on because for some reason there are still idiots who drive 70 miles an hour, and I'm always
There were two. There were
yeah.
two flying. And I'm going, God, they're going to end up in a river or something because we're crossing so many bridges.
Mhm. I just don't know how people drive with no fear.
Me either.
So I always turn on my hazards so they'll see me before they just ride up on top of me. All right, for our spine. So we can go big where we push up and down, even though we keep that soft bend in our arms. I still think of that as a big movement. So many people have a lock shoulder or problems with their shoulder and the mobility. So if you need to stay small and just stretch here, just think about your spine stretching. That's an amazing move to me that you can be this small and think stretch of your spine and you experience it. But if you can go big like this. But that gives us a modification for if we have a hard time with shoulder mobility. Side to side, just a short trip. That hand that's on top tells us what direction we turn our torso.
And it replaces multiple cleaning products, which the Mr. Clean told me that's magical reset.
Now for our lower body, starting with our hips, we shift weight to one leg, place our heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, and toe back, hands forward. It's really our first experience with our warm-up of having weight on one leg. And this is what challenges those muscles to get strong and be stabilizer muscles that help keep us from falling. So anytime we're transferring weight, we're building the strength of that muscle. So, but if we need a chair, table, a wall, something where we have to skip these hand movements, there's no shame in that. Have that reassurance that you're not gonna fall. And anytime you can, practice weight on one leg, even if you just keep it close. You don't place it out forward or come back. Just having that weight, no weight on this other foot, and then switching over to that other side. And that's what we do in our next movement, where we, being nosy neighbors, shift to one side and tap out that foot. Reminding ourselves to keep good posture, to stay within our frame. So we're not going way out here. We're staying at the edge of our body. Because if we were to keep going, we'd start leaning. And anytime we lean, that's going towards falling. And that goes against what we're trying to do here. We want to be in the habit of keeping that upright posture no matter what we're doing. The place that challenges me the most is when I shift weight front to back. When I shift weight forward, my body wants to go forward with it. And so I challenge myself to keep that upright posture. My other challenge is holding my breath, really having to remind myself to breathe. All right, for our knees, so we're going to again shift the weight, lift, tap, and punch that opposite hand out. Bring it back, shift. And remember, our movement control principle is slow, smooth, and continuous. So by moving slowly, it really challenges those muscles in a different way than if we were to go fast. If we went fast, we would feel our heart beat a little faster. We would get sweaty. We would probably get out of breath. So going fast challenges our cardiovascular system, challenges our lungs. But by going slow, we're challenging ourselves in a different way. So that's the beauty of slow, smooth, and continuous, is making stabilizer strong muscles. I don't know about y'all, but I think slow is so much harder than fast.
It is.
And that's why I always say about having that chair, that's a lot to ask of your body, to hold your weight on one leg while you slowly lift and touch that foot out and slowly bring it back and punch. So skip the punch and hold the chair, tap it out close to the ground, whatever you need to do to keep yourself stable, not falling, but have the experience of shifting weight and holding weight on one leg. All right, and work yourself up to strength. Oh, we're going to step out. Our other knee exercise, step out. We're going to keep both feet on the ground as we shift forward. Remember, keeping our body upright. This is that point where I was talking about, where I'm always wanting to kind of lean with this punch, but I challenge myself to keep my body upright. And we're not completely shifting all the weight to that front foot. We're keeping a little weight reserved in the back, but we're practicing weight shift forward, weight shift back, and now shifting the weight. A lot of great weight shifting going on with this movement right here. And then there's the cross lateral that works our brain. So this side is moving a hand. This side is stepping out with the leg. So that's cross lateral, and that works our brains. And we do that a lot in Tai Chi where we move cross lateral. And so it's part of the benefits of Tai Chi is brain exercise on top of all the other, namely balance and coordination is what we're going for. All right, for our ankles, so no arm movements for this. Shift weight to one leg and then heel, toe, heel, toe. Rocking that foot. Back, shift weight, and heel, toe. This also helps promote circulation in our legs. So if you're ever sitting a long time and you can rock those feet, move those feet, work the ankle, and the shin and the calf, you're working the muscles in that lower part of your leg, helps with circulation. And then we have big toe, little toe, side to side. Some days your ankles may feel really stiff and these movements are difficult some days, easier some days. But the more you do this movement, helps improve the mobility of that ankle joint. Also helps strengthen the muscles that are around that ankle joint. And when we have strong ankles, our ankles can save us from a fall. So we know maybe we've had experiences with weak ankles and it causes us to fall because we turn our ankle real easy. And we don't have the muscle strength to hold ourselves up. So muscle strength is important. And, we might think of muscle strength as, oh, I have to lift weights. And it's not all about lifting weights for muscle strength. Using your muscles, even when it's gravity, is weight bearing. Gravity gives us weight. So any movement working against gravity. So as long as you're on Earth, you're moving against gravity. All right, here we go. So we're going to go through our part 1 basic 6 movements. So I'm going to talk you through them. First, we have commencement, where we start with our upright posture, weight on both legs, a slight bend in our knees. Remember, our hands face each other. So we're going to bring our hands up and bring them down. And when we bring them down, we shift right. We place that left foot out. Our hands come in and up. We shift left as those hands go out. Bring our right foot forward. Hands come back as we adjust the weight to have weight on both feet and open and close. Let's do that again. This is commencement, our first move. And commence. Hands up, down, shift right. Place left, hands in and up. Shift left as they go out. Right foot forward. Hands come back. And the one we know we can always do, open and close. So hands open and close. It's a breath. So when your hand, okay, so we have our hands here. We have this space in our armpit. Our armpits are breathing, so it's away from us. It's not just here. It's up and out, away from our bodies. So if our hands are facing each other and we take a deep breath, watch my hands. Deep breath. Now exhale. My breath is what moved my hands because all of it, my lungs are expanding and contracting, so my hands are going open and close. So I don't even have to physically move my hands open and close to do that movement, but I can make that movement more by adding a little gentle resistance as if I were pulling an accordion and pushing an accordion, if you want to imagine that. So yes, it's a breath, but adding gentle resistance gives that move a little extra something. So from the top, we have commencement, up, down, shift, place, and in and up, open, close. So remember, our goal is slow, smooth, and continuous. So we want to think about that movement, that as soon as we come up, we immediately come down. We immediately come in and up and out. So it's one smooth and continuous movement. Whereas when we learn it, it's more choppy. We kind of go up, down, in, up, out, in. And that's just how we think about the pieces and parts of the movement. But remember, as we go, further into this class and know these movements better, our goal is slow, smooth, continuous. So let's do those first two moves: thinking, slow, smooth, and continuous. And command. So each movement starts to melt into each other because of that principle. Now we have a single whip. And so we're coming from open and close where our weight's on both legs. We're going to shift left, step out right. And then when we adjust weight to then have weight on both legs, at the same time of that weight adjust, we're going to push our hands forward. And so that weight shift and the hand movement going together keeps that kind of smooth and continuous feel with our Tai Chi, the same way in commencement that we bring our hands down as we shift down and forward as we shift forward. So connecting what's going on at top to what's going on at the bottom with the weight shift gives you that nice Tai Chi feel. So keep those things in mind as you learn and you get better at these movements to step, adjust weight. So see that a weight went forward, not all the weight, just a little bit to where we adjusted it. We went from weight being on our left leg, stepping with our right, then adjusting. So we did give it weight, but we left weight in the back. At the same time, we pushed those hands out. Now we're ready for the turn and the separate. Remember, the foot that stepped out, our head and eyes follow the opposite hand. So that's a rule for single whip. Coming from open and close, we shift left, step right, adjust, turn, and separate. When I think about separating my hands, I want to keep in mind the one that I'm not looking at. It's easy to forget that guy when you're not looking at it. So think as you separate those hands, hey, am I moving both or am I just moving the one I'm looking at? So keep that in mind, that both hands are separating. And if you don't, then you're missing out on the opening of that chest. And you'll feel the difference if you do it both ways. So adding that to the top, commence, up, down, up. I did the wrong leg, I'm sorry. I did the actual leg, not the mirror image leg. All right, let me fix that for you. So we shift right, come up, down, step. Open, close. Single whip. All right, waving hands in clouds. And you know what? I just realized I didn't change my poster back. This right here is part 2. On Friday, we're working on doing part 2. And so I got a little carried away making posters of the moves of part 2. So this right here is our waving hands in cloud. With step, switch, turn, and shift. So I've encouraged y'all to make your own little note to have in front of you as you do waving hands in clouds. because those are our pieces and parts of the movement, and it can be our brain instead of us having to think, oh gosh, where am I? What's next? So we're coming from single whip. Weights on both legs. We're going to shift weight to our left leg. We're going to bring that right foot back, and that right hand comes to our hip. Now we're ready. That's that transition movement to get ready to do our waving hands and clouds. What's our first thing? Step. Then switch our hands. Then turn. Shift. Step. Switch. Turn. So here we can chop it up one word at the time and work towards the smoothing out those edges so it's slow, smooth, and continuous. Once we get a feel for what the moves are and we can smoothly do it, the only thing that we think about is how many have we done? Because there are 6 steps, but I like to call the turns or count the turns since that's what we do last. So again, coming from that single whip, we bring that right foot, right hand back. Now here we go. Step, switch, turn. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we come to the middle for open and close. I love waving hands and clouds as a pull-out movement. And by that, I mean, just do waving hands and clouds. If you have 5 or 10 minutes, you want to practice some Tai Chi, go for waving hands and clouds because there's weight transfer, obviously upright posture, a great opportunity for slow, smooth, and continuous. And there's just a relaxing rhythm to this movement. You don't have to worry about 6. You can just wave hands and clouds until you go to a wall and come for open and close, and then wave hands and clouds until you go to the other wall. There's something about this movement to me that is just so calming. The circular motion of our hands, and then of course the weight shift. We can just sit into that movement and breathe and just enjoy it as a Tai Chi movement. Love waving hands and clouds, but we have to get comfortable with the pieces and parts of it. So we know the step part is Tai Chi walking step outside of our, right outside of our frame, outside of our hips. And the follow step is right at hip width. So we have to figure out how big our step, how big of a step or small of a step works for us to where we can actually shift the weight completely to one leg and lift and move the other leg. Shift completely and then lift. Where I have found myself making a mistake in waving hands and clouds is kicking off rather than completely shifting. What I found myself doing was mostly shifting, weight still on this other leg, and then kicking off and then moving it. Well, the way I caught myself is I got on a floor that somebody had just waxed. And when I went to kick off, my foot slipped. So I didn't realize I was doing it until that floor told on me. So be conscious of that movement. Are you really shifting all the weight so that you can lift and tap? If your step is too big, then you almost have to kick off because it's so far. You can't completely put your weight all the way over on this foot because you're too wide. So that's something to really think about and be conscious of what really is happening. And we're so used to bigger being better that it's hard for us to be small. You know, we take this step, we're basically lifting it and putting it down almost exactly where it was. So it might not feel like enough, but it is enough. And we want to practice small, complete shift, lift, and then the follow step. That's the trick and things that have went wrong for me in waving hands in clouds. On the top, so that's two of our movements. That's our step and our shift. That's what happens on our lower body. The upper body is our switch and our turn. So just like in our spinal warm-up where we have our ball and we go side to side, this is a spinal movement. My hands are switching, yes, but other than that, they're going along for the ride that my body is taking them on. So my hands aren't moving like this. It's my body that moves those hands. And so it's the torso that moves and my hands just go along for the ride. I switch them on the end and then take them for a ride, switch them, take them for a ride. So that's our spinal warm-up. This movement works the same way. Our hands are just a little different. In our spinal warm-up, we go in the direction of the hand that's on top, switch, and then we go in the direction of the hand that's on top. This is the case in waving hands on clouds, but our hands are different. Like I said, this hand is down here by our hip. This hand is cross body. But I want you to notice that my hands are in the same plane. If I, draw on this line right here, they're about in the same plane. I come across and now they pass each other in the plane. One's in front and one's in the back. And then they go across and switch. So it's about the same plane. It's not always exactly, because you don't want to pull yourself too much, so much that you're causing yourself tension. But that's that general rule. They're switching in that plane and coming across. Switching in that plane, coming across. So another way to practice waving hands in clouds is to practice this upper body part. You can even practice this seated. So I'm not even going anywhere with my legs. I'm just practicing the feeling of this switch and turn. Switch and turn. So just like the ball, I'm switching my hands and then they're going along for the ride of my torso moving. So as you do this movement right here, I want you to think about these muscles. Engaging these core muscles as you turn. Turn. So when I kind of flex these muscles, I feel them here. I feel them here, like well, that's my core. It's the muscles that surround my spine. And imagine if the muscles that surround my spine are strong, they're more likely to keep me upright and not fall. My core muscles are pretty strong. One time I was playing Foursquare. And so that's a pretty intense game if you're competitive. And I am. I'm very competitive. And so I went to go get the ball and gravity wanted me to fall and eat pavement. I tightened up these muscles and pulled myself up. And I felt the strength of my muscles help keep me from falling. And that was a very, very extreme situation, but it works in not extreme situations. When these core muscles are strong and you utilize them, you can save yourself from falling. You can pull yourself up with those muscles. And so this is a way to help make those muscles stronger to save you. Of course, we want these leg muscles strong. Like I said, our ankles earlier, we want all of our muscles strong to pull ourselves up and keep ourselves from falling. So if we're going side to side and we're thinking about these muscles, pushing my body to the side, switch, pushing. That's that gentle resistance using those muscles, engaging to go side to side. Then that's how these muscles get stronger. So you can think about that and add that in with your practice of waving hands in clouds, even if you're only practicing that upper body, engaging those muscles as you move side to side. So it's not just a slight turn. You know, right here, I'm not engaging my muscle. Well, I have to be, or else I'd probably fall over, but not intentionally really engaging them. Now I am, and I think of pushing, switch, pushing. I like to think of a straw poking out of my belly button, and I'm turning that straw this way and turning that straw that way with the strength of my muscles. And so, anyway, that's how we can help ourselves be strong in practicing waving hands in clouds. You can do it seated. You don't even have to be standing, engaging those muscles seated, going side to side. You can do the waving hands in clouds movement of the hands, or you can go back to that spinal ball. Engaging the core muscles is so important with building that strength. And amazingly, helping us keep balance. Even though you think about balance being here, but balance can be here too. So keep practicing the pieces and the parts. Practice that stepping, practice that turning, practice putting it together, and then gradually get slow, smooth, continuous, where each of the pieces and parts melts into each other. So I'm shifting, or I'm turning and shift, and then I step and switch. So I combine the movements, and that helps it be more continuous. But first, we want to master it in the choppy version before we can get to this really beautiful, nice, and smooth movement. So to finish off our basic 6, we do single whip and wave hands in clouds to the left. So we've done our 6 this way to the right. Now single whip to the left. We shift right, step left, adjust weight as we push those hands out, turn and separate. Remembering to separate both hands. Shift, bring that left foot, left hand back. Now waving hands in clouds. Step and switch, turn, shift. Remember, our goal is slow, smooth, continuous. Engaging our core muscles. So many different ways we can practice it. Practice one thing at the time. Practice putting 2 things together. My biggest challenge is always, is that 6 or is that 8 or is that only 4? Open and close it out. So that's a little bit more explanation of our basic 6 that maybe we've kind of rushed ourselves through the past little bit as we go to our advanced 6. So let's do it again. We'll do it a couple times. And commence. Open, close. Remembering to breathe. Single whip to the right. Waving hands in clouds to the right. There's 2. 4. and 6. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds to the left. There's 2. 4. Open, close. Close it out. Again, then I'll ask you if you have any questions or need any clarifications. Here we go. Commence. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. It's our 6th. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Six. Open, close. So practicing our basic 6 feels good. Do you have any questions about those moves or any of the pieces and parts of it? Hopefully you're feeling more comfortable with those basic 6 movements. Those are our movements that are our seated version. If you hear Dr. Lamb talk about seated Tai Chi, those are the seated version. And so if you do that movement or those movements seated, you can sit at the edge of your chair, making sure your feet are engaged on the floor and grounded. You can go through those same moves, upper body moves, nothing happening with your feet, focusing on breath, focusing on pace, breath. I think about breath a lot. Even upright posture, sitting in a chair is important. We don't want to be crunched over because it squishes our organs and especially our lungs. And we want to have all the space for our lungs to be able to breathe. But doing these movements, being more and more familiar with them, standing or seated, pieces, parts, whatever, however you want to do it, helps increase our body awareness, how we naturally hold our body. And the more we practice that upright posture, the more likely we're going to have upright posture as we move in the world. And that's our goal. Because the more we're standing upright, not leaning over, the less likely we are to fall. That's our goal. Back to seated, pushing those feet into the floor is how you engage the muscles in your legs. Let me, grab my chair. So you can do this seated without doing any kind of hand movement, having a grounded, upright posture. And now I'm pushing a leg into the ground, releasing it, pushing the other leg into the ground. So I'm just pushing my legs and engaging muscle. I'm in control of how hard I push those feet into the floor, but that's how I'm engaging muscle seated. So if you have a really hard time with balance, you want the safety of your chair, but you do want to engage the muscle. do this, push those feet into the floor. Something that you can do when you're forced to sit, when you're somewhere and you can't stand up. Give yourself a little exercise while you're just sitting there by pushing your feet into the floor. Adding in
That's
it.
real good for, I have a friend that she's in a quilt where she's needing assistance walking. So I'm having her come on with us so that she can see how this goes. She couldn't this morning, so hopefully next week.
Okay. Well, if you're, some people don't have any use of their legs. Obviously, they still can do Tai Chi. So if you can't do that pushing into the ground at all, then just do that upper body. But if she has some leg strength, but maybe not enough to carry her around, or at least have the endurance to do it for a full day, a little bit, a leg pushing can go, build on itself. So might not can do a lot now, but keep doing it and you keep getting stronger. And then maybe stand up, go to the back of your chair or somewhere where you can hold on to and shift weight to one leg. Y'all just pretend my chair's here so y'all can see me. I'm holding on to my chair, my invisible chair, and I'm shifting weight to one leg. Well, see, this leg is still on the floor, but there's no weight on it. Now I'm shifting weight to the other leg. I'm not even lifting this up. So practicing weight transfer, that's kind of a next step, right? No arm movement, I'm holding on. I'm not moving my other foot. It's still safely on the ground for me to put weight back to it if needed. Then maybe pick that foot off the floor a little bit and put it back down. So baby step your way into getting the strength and comfortable with weight transfer. But really, that is where so much magic happens with muscle strength, is by actually using your muscles. Imagine. Yes, we need to rest sometimes, but rest is not going to get our muscles strong. Matter of fact, it makes our muscles weak when we don't do things. That's the big problem with inactivity. We get older, we get a fear of falling, we are so afraid we're going to fall that we don't do things. While we're not doing things, our muscles get weaker and it increases our chance of falls. So it works against us to do nothing. So wherever comfort level is, do that and build from there. So we're not all going to be the person that goes and in the very beginning and shifts the weight and, is able to do that full leg swing. That right there is a big ask, is to hold weight on one leg while moving that other. So hold a chair, forget the arm movement, and do that leg movement if you're comfortable doing that. Just do something, or else your muscles are going to atrophy, shrink, and get weak. All right. Any other questions?
Jennifer, thank you so much for introducing that chair. I walk 2 miles a day, but sometimes I will find in doing this Tai Chi at about 40 minutes, I'm kind of winded. So I'm not sure. I guess it's working more body muscles doing Tai Chi versus just.
Yeah, it's taxing on the body, that's for sure, because it's a cardiovascular exercise. We have that slight bend to our knee, and so we're pumping that blood as we shift the weight. A lot is going on, but yeah, have a seat. Now this is challenging too. It's not the easy way, but it's a different experience. So whenever I'll pull my britches up so you can kind of see, maybe when I come up, nothing happening with my legs. I come down, I push this leg. When I come in, I push the other leg. So I'm kind of pushing, release, just like that. Push while this one's released, push this one while this one's released. So when my hand comes up, that's the release, and my hand goes down, that's pushing. So it's like pushing one at the time. One releases, one pushes. One releases, one pushes. And you can feel your bottom even coming up, elevating up off your seat, and then coming back down. That paddling type movement, find your way with it. So here we come up, down, I push one leg. In, I push the other. Up, I go back. Out, so I'm going back and forth on that leg, on my legs with each change of my arms. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So here, down, push one, in, push the other. Up, push the other, out, push the other. In, push the other, and when I go to open and close, release both. Open, close. Now, push as my hand goes out, and separate, push the other. Down. So I'm just I'm going through the motions of my Tai Chi, and with each change of my arms, I'm changing the push into the floor.
And that's definitely challenging still, because while I was in the doctor's office with my friend the other week and I got off camera, I continued to do it sitting down while we waited on the doctor to come in. And it was still challenging.
It is. In my opinion, I think seated Tai Chi is harder than standing Tai Chi. Like doing all that pushing, back and forth. I find that to be more taxing on my legs. But what I think I'm doing is pushing really hard into the floor. I think I'm just really engaging muscle. Probably doing more than I know I'm doing more than I have to do. But I think that's why I find it so tiresome, is because I'm really pushing into the floor, pushing into the floor. But there are some movements that when you push into the floor, it creates a stable leg for you to be able to do other things with this other foot. So for instance, in our warm-up, if I do my warm-up seated, I push this foot into the floor, I'm lifting this heel out, or taking that heel out and then bringing it back. By pushing that foot into the floor, I feel more stable than if I don't push anything into the floor and I try to lift that foot and bring it out. I find it to be more difficult to do it that way. So sometimes pushing the one foot into the floor allows you to more easily move that other leg because it's holding you right there in place. It's just lots of different ways that you can practice these same moves and challenge your muscles. Key message is to keep moving some way, somehow, within your comfort zone. So seated Tai Chi can be done with no leg engagement, but we do want our feet to be grounded. We don't want to be just sit back, in our easy chair, maybe our legs up on an ottoman, trying to do Tai Chi. That wouldn't be how we wanted to do it seated. We want to actually have our upright posture. I'm moved up in the chair enough to where my feet are grounded on the floor. And I can practice some of my principles of upright posture, smooth, slow, smooth, and continuous, breath, mental quietness, open joints, even without any pushing into the floor. Still important to have upright posture. And grounded feet, even if we're not pushing those feet into the floor. Goodness gracious, it's after 11. Let's cool ourselves down by giving ourselves a nice fist massage on our thighs. It's a way we say thank you to our legs for working so hard. And Lord knows they work hard every time we weight transfer. Every time we push those feet into the ground, those legs work hard for us. And we need them to work hard for us all the time as we're walking around this world because we do not want to fall. And only by using our muscles do we get them stronger. Next, we create tension. We gather tension. And that is not how we want to live. Let's let it go. If we walk around with tension, we're going to get pain. We don't want pain, so we let it go. We hold it. We recognize what that feels like so that when we start holding tension and don't even realize it, we can recognize it and let it go. I'll catch me clenching my jaws, and that's tension. Anytime I'm having that constricted muscle, that can cause me to have pain. So let it go. Shoulder circle, up and down. That's that gathering movement where we gather good and sunshine and fill our soul with it. One more. We take our right fist, that represents our strength, our left fingers together, our friendship, our thumb in is our humility. And we put those together in mutual respect. We say, Namaste. All right, y'all. Well, we'll do it again next Tuesday.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Y'all let me know if I can do anything for you. About said to y'all. I'm not going to do anything to y'all, but let me know if I can do anything for y'all, and I'll do whatever I can to help you, okay?
Thank you for the CDs.
Oh, you're
Okay.
welcome. Y'all enjoy.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.